The year was 1967, a year that would become a turning point in American history. America found itself grappling with the tumultuous civil rights movement. Racial tensions were high, and the nation was deeply divided. Segregation was the law in many states, particularly true in the South, where whites-only signs were a common sight. The idea of interracial marriage was taboo, and it was even illegal in many parts of the country, reflecting the deep-seated prejudices of the time. This was the backdrop against which the landmark case of Loving v. Virginia unfolded, challenging the very fabric of America's racial hierarchy and questioning long-held beliefs. It brought to the forefront the fundamental right to marry whomever one chooses, regardless of race, a right that many had taken for granted. The case became a pivotal moment in the fight for civil rights, paving the way for a more just and equitable society, and inspiring countless others to stand up for their rights. The fight for racial equality was in full swing, with protests and demonstrations happening across the country. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 had been passed, outlawing discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin, marking a significant victory for the movement. However, many states, particularly in the South, clung to their segregationist laws, resisting the winds of change. These laws, known as anti-miscegenation laws, prohibited marriage between people of different races and were deeply rooted in racism and fear. This was a time of great social and political upheaval, and the nation was poised for a change that would redefine its core values, setting the stage for a new era of equality and justice. At the heart of this legal battle was a love story that transcended racial boundaries and challenged societal norms. It was a story of courage, resilience, and an unyielding belief in the power of love. Richard Loving, a white man, and Mildred Jeter, a woman of African American and Native American descent, fell in love in their small hometown of Central Point, Virginia. Their bond grew stronger despite the whispers and stares from those around them. This interracial relationship, however, was not accepted by their community. Their love was a transgression against the prevailing social order, a defiance of the deeply ingrained prejudices of the time. Undeterred by societal pressures and legal ramifications, Richard and Mildred decided to get married. They knew their union would face immense challenges, but their love gave them the strength to move forward. In 1958, they traveled to Washington, D.C., where interracial marriage was legal. It was a journey filled with hope and determination, a journey to solidify their commitment. They exchanged vows and pledged their love and commitment to each other. Their wedding was a quiet yet profound act of defiance against the unjust laws that sought to keep them apart. Their marriage was a testament to the power of love over hate, and a beacon of hope in a time when racial division seemed insurmountable. It was a symbol of what could be achieved when love is allowed to flourish. Their happiness, however, was short-lived. The joy they found in each other was soon overshadowed by the harsh reality of the laws they had defied. Upon their return to Virginia, they were arrested and charged with violating the state's Racial Integrity Act of 1924, which prohibited marriage between a white person and a person of any other race. Their love had become a criminal act in the eyes of the law. Their arrest marked the beginning of a long and arduous legal battle, a battle that would challenge the very foundation of racial segregation in America. It was a fight not just for their love, but for the right of all people to love freely, regardless of race. Richard and Mildred Loving pleaded guilty to the charges and were sentenced to 1 year in prison. Their crime? Simply falling in love and getting married, despite the color of their skin. However, the judge suspended the sentence on the condition that they leave Virginia and live apart from their families and loved ones. This harsh ruling forced them to make an unimaginable choice. The Lovings reluctantly agreed to the terms and relocated to Washington, D.C. The bustling city was a stark contrast to the quiet rural life they had known. They yearned to return to their hometown and longed to live openly as a married couple. The separation from their roots and community weighed heavily on their hearts. Life in exile was difficult for the Lovings. They faced financial hardship and endured the pain of being separated from their support system. The emotional and financial strain was a constant burden. In 1964, Mildred, tired of living a lie, wrote a heartfelt letter to Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy, seeking help in their fight for justice. Her plea was a desperate cry for freedom and equality. Kennedy, moved by their plight, referred their case to the American Civil Liberties Union. He saw the injustice and knew something had to be done. This marked a significant turning point in their legal battle. The involvement of the ACLU brought new hope and momentum to their cause. The ACLU, recognizing the profound significance of the case, took up the Lovings cause with determination. They saw it as a pivotal moment in the fight for civil rights. They challenged the constitutionality of Virginia's anti-miscegenation law, and the case slowly made its way through the legal system, garnering national attention and becoming a powerful symbol of the ongoing struggle for racial equality. The Lovings' courage and resilience inspired many. The Lovings case, Loving v. Virginia, reached the Supreme Court in 1967. The nation held its breath as the eyes of the world were on the highest court in the land. The outcome of this case would have far-reaching implications for civil rights and the very definition of marriage in America. The courtroom was packed, and the atmosphere was electric. The ACLU lawyers, representing the Lovings, argued that Virginia's anti-miscegenation law violated the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution, which guarantees equal protection of the laws to all citizens. They argued that the law was rooted in racism and had no place in a society that prided itself on equality and justice. The state of Virginia, however, defended its law, with state attorneys arguing that the law was necessary to preserve racial purity and contending that it was within the state's right to regulate marriage steeped in the language of segregation and white supremacy. On June 12, 1967, the Supreme Court issued its ruling. The decision was unanimous. The court struck down Virginia's anti-miscegenation law. Chief Justice Earl Warren, writing for the court, declared that the freedom to marry or not marry a person of another race resides with the individual and cannot be infringed by the state. This landmark ruling was a resounding victory for the Lovings. It was a triumph for civil rights. It sent a clear message that the government had no business interfering in the private lives of individuals. The court recognized the fundamental right to marry as a basic civil right. This right, the court affirmed, could not be denied based on race. The Loving versus Virginia decision was a watershed moment in American history. It marked the end of legal segregation in marriage. It paved the way for greater racial equality and social justice. It affirmed the inherent dignity and worth of all individuals regardless of their race. The news of the Supreme Court's decision spread like wildfire across the nation. It was met with jubilation by civil rights activists. It was a cause for celebration for those who had long fought for racial equality. The ruling was a testament to the power of love, perseverance, and the pursuit of justice. It signaled a new era in American society. For Richard and Mildred Loving, the decision meant they could finally return home to Virginia as husband and wife without fear of arrest. It meant they could raise their children in the community they knew and loved. It meant they could finally live their lives openly and freely. The Loving versus Virginia decision did not magically erase racial prejudice or discrimination from American society. It did, however, remove a significant legal barrier to racial equality. It sent a powerful message that love knows no color. It affirmed the fundamental right of individuals to marry whomever they choose. The ruling had a ripple effect across the nation. In the years following the decision, other states that still had anti-miscegenation laws on the books were forced to repeal them. The decision also helped to change public opinion. It slowly chipped away at the social stigma associated with interracial marriage. Today, over half a century after the Loving v. Virginia decision, interracial marriage is widely accepted in the United States. It is no longer a taboo subject. It is a testament to how far American society has come in terms of racial equality. It is a reflection of the growing diversity and inclusivity of the nation. However, the fight for equality and justice for all is far from over. Racial prejudice and discrimination still exist in various forms. The legacy of slavery and segregation continues to cast a shadow over American society. The Loving v. Virginia case serves as a reminder of the importance of fighting for what is right, even in the face of adversity. It highlights the power of the legal system to effect social change. It underscores the importance of individual courage and determination in challenging unjust laws and societal norms. The case also serves as a beacon of hope. It demonstrates that love, compassion, and understanding can triumph over hate, prejudice, and discrimination. It is a reminder that a more just and equitable society is possible. The Loving v. Virginia decision was a major victory in the fight for civil rights. It was a step towards a more perfect union. However, it is essential to remember that the struggle for equality is ongoing. Discrimination and prejudice still rear their ugly heads in various forms. We must remain vigilant in upholding the principles of equality and justice for all. We must continue to challenge discrimination wherever we encounter it. The story of Richard and Mildred Loving is a testament to the power of love to overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles. It is a story about the fight for human dignity and the right to love and be loved, regardless of race or ethnicity. Their courage, determination, and unwavering belief in their love for each other helped to change the course of history. They left behind a legacy of love, equality, and justice that continues to inspire generations to this day.